education, entertainment, and the executive marshal.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of On Point, guys. If you have somebody have a device on, please cut it off. Welcome to another edition of On Point. We have the great mind, the greatest minds in Liberian politics. We are talking about analysts. We are talking about information specialists. We are talking about political analysts. We're talking about business, politics, sports, you name it. We are going to discuss it today. We got 2 hours of great show for you. As usual, the fulcrum of this show is current event in politics. And as we say in this part of the world, when America sneezes, Liberia catches a cold. Maybe not even cold. Liberia catches pneumonia. So here we are, a major development that will affect the entire globe. The present president of the United States, President Joe Biden, stepped down today to make way for the next generation. He's passing the torch. So we are saying here we are. When we tell you that age has an impact on the cognitive development of the body, and when you take that into account, it affects not just you, but you, your generation, and the generation after, because, like Vice President Kuhn says, as you get older, the brain goes down. The brain goes down. The body may be willing, but the brain is down. He was buying Pampers. He gave an example. He was buying Pampers for his daddy, or his daddy was buying Pampers for him, but he's not buying Pampers for his daddy because the brain is down. Joe Biden's brains have gone down, and today he saw it fit to throw in the towel and say, ladies and gentlemen, for the good of our nation and the rest of the world, I am going to pass the torch.
So, Gabe, can I get a comment on that topic? I think it's very important.
Yes, sir.
Let me
finish the introduction here. With me here is my co-host, my Mr. Michael Padmore. Thank you for producing this show as usual. What you see here, like the folks say, is you don't know how we make the sausage, right? We just eat it because it tastes good, but there's a lot of processes. How you doing, Mr. Padmore?
I'm doing good. How are you all guys doing? It's great to be here. Sorry I wasn't here last week. Just I couldn't fit it in. So, but I'm glad I'm here this week and I'm ready to go.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Do us a favor, please share the show into your network. And Mr. Padmore, if you can share the show in our chat room, that's the only way I can have access to it. Mr. Tower, good to see you. I know there was a devastation in Houston where you are. I know you lost power. You have flooding. I'm glad you are back here. How is the family?
Yeah, everyone is doing fine now. We're back online and everything is working well.
Great. Mr. Booty, Dr. Booty, you look a little more relaxed. That beating that Great Britain took is sinking in now. You have realized that Great Britain is not as great as they are. They're just a replica of Arsenal. They're always at the front, always on top. Then time comes to crash. How you doing that, sir?
I'm doing good. Thank you. And it's great to be here as always.
Well, it looks like I may have been ahead of myself. Dr. Booty has not recovered. He's still.
No. The thing is, I came on the show energized and ready to go, and then you're bringing up old stuff. You know,
You're calling it old stuff.
Mr. Victor Nami, our political analyst, how you doing there, sir?
Hey, listen, good afternoon. It is great to be here. It's a wonderful Sunday. I feel bad for Dr. Booty, but he'll get away. But quickly, let me register this. First of all, I'd like to wish my colleagues well, representing the Union of Liberian Associations in the Americas, ULA. They have started arriving in Monrovia. They've gone to hold talks with the government of Liberia. We're getting ready to step up the out-of-country voting effort. We know the dual citizenship took a lot to get the act passed, but that act too needs a lot of work. So I want to wish Chairman Binder and the rest of the team all the best. I'd like to also quickly register my disappointment in this network. Mr. Ja and the team, they put together a show to discuss the effort that was spearheaded by those on the panel today, but they failed to invite the current sitting leadership, and they wanted to know the progress being made in that light. If anyone is to provide the updates on what is being done, I think the current administration should have been invited as well to tell them that the next frontier is now out of country voting. I tried to get in on the show, I couldn't. Mr. Wedgie is no more the chairman of ALCO. I want to make that very clear. Wedgie and I, we've had lots of conversations about this, but he continues to present himself as the chairperson. He is not. Ms. Lucy Kier Wilson is now the chairperson of ALCO. The effort is going on well. We're now moving to out-of-country voting, and the guys are in Liberia now to engage the government of Liberia. Thank you.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, to our CEO, Dennis Jah, we don't want to fall into that same category of giving people job and title without the responsibility and the power to carry out their work. You make this man political analyst, and you are discussing a very, very sensitive political topic, and you don't invite the political analyst. Thank you very much. Mr. Elvis, how you doing that, young man?
I'm elated actually, but let me just say that I think Mr. Kamara wanted Mr. Namu job, and he didn't get any job. But you know,
right?
Like that old R. Kelly song that said, "My mind is telling me no, but my body is telling me yeah." I think that's what's going on with Joe Biden. He wants to be president, but his body is telling him he can't do it. You know, his brain is going. So I think it's a selfless thing to do. I think it took a little bit of pulling to get him to, to step aside. But those of us who are, who lean Democratic, I think it's time to push it and try to get Kamala, elected. Not because she's a great candidate, but because it's going to save this nation from going down the rabbit hole of fascism and authoritarianism. We live in this country. Some of us would think, oh, the people politics got nothing to do with us. The very policy that these people implemented, it has, a ripple effect on us and even our people in Liberia that wish to come here. So we have to stay on the right side of history. So I think President Biden, what he did was the right thing. It's going to be a tough tax because to win the election, Democrats have to win by almost 10 million votes this time around. They won by 8 million votes in a popular vote and barely eked out a win. So it's going to be difficult. But hopefully they pull it off. But I'm excited to discuss Liberia, and I think I'm even more excited about the developments on this side politically. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kamara, how you doing there, sir? How's the D.C., Maryland area?
Hi, Wana. How you doing? How everybody doing? Good to be here. Glad to see Booty looking like a chicken that fall in water. Cold. And Mr. Pamba, the man I like to see here the most is that guy who acts innocent, the buzzer man, full hand, he got muscle. But we'll see how the show goes today.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, do us a favor, share the show in your network. Let's get the ball rolling. Let's get as many involved as we can because today we're going to cross-cut. Like we say, whatever affects America affects us.
But I would appreciate it, though, if we stick mostly to the topic at hand.
Yeah, we're just, Mr. Kamara, please, let the host.
Mr. Kamara, when we get to the real topic.
This is breaking news. The most powerful man in the entire world has made an announcement. We've got to take at least 5 minutes.
Mr. Padmore, when we talk about a real issue, you're going to see he's going to turn his camera off.
Elon Musk is the most important man today.
Yeah, the most important topic on here when we start discussing it, he will turn his camera off and you go to the restroom. So don't this man.
Bring Anthony Gay on. He's in the back. Anthony Gay's in the back.
Oh, Anthony Gay.
I see him.
Okay, you bring him up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we are.
Thank you, Morris.
Mr. Morris, look at the.
You're not welcoming Anthony? Welcome, Anthony. We get my brother.
Mr. Anthony, welcome. Next time, be on time. You're the new generation. You got to be on time. You can't come here.
I'm not Gen Z
every day. Mr. Morris.
I'm 40. I'm not Gen Z.
This is my man. If you are 40 in Joseph Boakai, a youth, you are a youth.
Youth, yeah, brother. Oh, you youth when you're for them, man. Imagine.
Joseph Boakai youth engagement had is a 69-year-old there. Mr. Evans Morris.
I don't see this youth thing. I said, what?
Mr. Morris. What's happening in the United States, the impact around the world and Liberia in particular?
Look, Mr. Gayman, I said it on the last show. Mr. Namwe and myself, we echo similar sentiments. Our politics is heavily influenced by the United States foreign policies. So if we have somebody who don't give a quote unquote a damn about us, who refer to us as shithole countries, why should people from our country, from those kind of countries even come to the United States? Why aren't they bringing more people from Norway and the Scandinavian countries? Our foreign policy, the United States foreign policy under a Donald Trump presidency would be almost non-existent, especially in relations to Liberia. So we who are on this side, and a lot of people who want to come here for a better life, those of us who have the means to send money back to our families and help to make their lives easier, things can become harder for us under a Donald Trump presidency. We saw what happened on his first term. Some of the things that was going on in the Weah government, or those who supported President Weah. But it was almost like a colonial master who was the overlord of the government, who was talking and pretty much demeaning our government. A lot of people, even those who didn't support President Weah, thought that McCarthy was being, almost like a colonial master-like. So for me, I think some of the rhetoric that has been spewed, especially from former President Donald Trump, in regards to immigrants, in regards to Africans and Black people as a whole, it's been very divisive and very nonchalant when it comes to our interests. So for me in this election, I'm definitely putting my hat behind the Democratic candidate, being that she's a mixed woman, similar to Obama, of Jamaican and Indian heritage. So definitely, we don't want to play the identity politics, but I think she's a strong woman, a prosecutor, a woman who is very, very smart, very witty. Hopefully she can hold her own against Donald Trump, who is a bigot in every sense of the word, and a wannabe strongman. So let's see how democracy play out on this side, and we'll be rooting for the Democrat comes in November. Thank you.
Great, ladies and gentlemen, I am a Republican and I support the Republican Party. I think the Democratic Party has gone so far left, so I think it's time to bring it back in focus. Let me go to Mr. Alio Kamara there. What's happening in the United States? You are in Maryland. This thing it fell on your shoulder there.
Yeah, let me also announce that I am a Republican. But let me say this to all the people who can just say anything happening in America, American policies are policy. I have never seen people anywhere in the world who enjoys being colonized. I have not seen people anywhere in the world who just believe that they should be subjugated by a group. At this point in time, we're still talking about why America, speaking serious about all the crap. It's about time now that we take the lead and govern ourselves according to what works for us. I'm sad to hear that Joe Biden is gone. I wasn't going to support Joe Biden either. I wasn't going to support Donald Trump. But now I have to figure out who's going to be the candidate of the Democrats. I'm not going to support that woman over there either. That's the woman who just to lock people in California for no reason, for just having one small little piece of joint. Just more joint. You're more going to lock you up for it, especially the Black people.
Yeah, Donald Trump supported worse than that. You know that.
Yeah, I'm not. Let me make my point. Let me make my point. Okay, I'm not comparing Donald Trump with that woman. I cannot support Donald Trump. I would declare her. I gotta be high. But the thing is, we don't know who the Democrat nominee for president is going to be yet, because they have said it has to be open. They have to go to a convention. They have to select someone. Nobody made her the nominee yet. Let's not forget that. But my focus is on Liberia. My umbilical cord is buried under the big cola tree on the football field in Timor District. I want that country to get better, and I know it cannot get better with all replicating everything for America. We're now white. Nobody must tell you, say, white man king or a Black man, or Black man king or a white man. We were created differently, maybe by different gods. We're not the same. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let me put Mr. Aliyu Kamara on the record here. Aliyu Kamara just told 2 lies, major lies.
Okay.
The first one was he said he was born in the hospital a long time ago. Now he said
Yeah, I'm
you're
gonna
under
say.
color tree. So Mr. Kamara, you don't know when you were born. Secondly, you talking
I see
about
my umbilical cord, man.
listen. Okay, you were born in the hospital in Monroe. They told you liver spring way
I
back in
was born in Division 10 Fire Stool. Number.
under the color tree. Okay. And then the second lie is we can do without America, but yet and still his candidate, Joseph Boakai, what was the first thing he did when he came here?
No, what
He
the
was
one
having
gonna
dinner.
do?
He was having dinner with the American government and everybody else in here.
But go to the next person
Listen,
about.
Mr. Gay, you just come in. You got 1 minute here, sir. Go ahead. The happenings in the United States, the resignation of Joe Biden or the stepping down of Joe Biden.
Not resignation.
I understand. From contesting the next election. Listen, I want Kamala Harris to be president so bad that he should resign so the woman can be president for 2 months. Go ahead.
I like that.
Hey man, I think I want to say thank you to President Biden for putting out of the race. He did the right thing for America and for the future of the Democratic Party. Look, I saw that news from BBC today. Notification on my phone. I was like, this. I know it wasn't an easy decision. Like we're quoting our Harris song here. He really wanted to be reelected, but the body cannot help him, and we saw the fallout. So he did the right thing. I know other people will come here after Obama. Why Obama have to speak publicly to say, "Oh, Joe Biden should do the right thing," all of that stuff. But I think he did the right thing. To put country first, party first, and put a personal ego aside to give the Democratic Party the opportunity to bring that. I hope they will pick Kamala because right now the time is very short, and somebody may be popular in their state may not have a national presence. We saw the guy from Texas. When he did that thing, he went to the Democratic debate, and he did not, uphold, the steam from the national stage. We saw Michelle Bachmann during the Tea Party time from Minnesota, who represented it, wanted to be president. She did one good debate. The next thing, she was passing all around from network to network. How that end up? Michelle Bachmann could not even get re-election from Minnesota. So again, national stage is different in America than being popular in your state. Kamala Harris has proven that she can be a national person in America. She won the state of California in senatorial seat twice. When she launched her campaign, the very first day, 34,000 people show up. Folks, I hope America will rally around that lady. That's one person Donald Trump cannot handle on the debate stage. She will fire him easily and just dash in someplace else. And but I'm happy for what.
Mr. Kamara, put your camera up a little bit or down a little bit.
You get to my head?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Tao, 1 minute.
I thought I was talking to my camera was fast.
Yeah.
Am I all right now for you?
Yeah, you're all right, gentlemen. We got a full house. Let's do it 1 minute. Mr. Tao.
I share the position. Some of what Mr. Kamara said. This blind commitment that we have, this subjugation mentality, having been de-Africanized so much so that we think that we're Americans, that we think somehow we belong into the system and it's supposed to work for us. I've lived here long enough, and before I even came here, I grew up around Americans for about 25 years of my life before I came here. It doesn't matter who becomes president. America's policy is a white domination, political, economic, social system that intend to subjugate just about anybody. So if you understand the system here of the conceptual West, it's not about who become president. It is not about which party come to power. You have more Democrats come to power. What has happened to Liberia or to Africa? So don't buy into the lie that somehow Democrats are going to be much more sympathetic towards you, that they're going to do something different. No, it's about the way in which they dominate you and who does the domination and the method and strategy that they use. We have to stop all this or emotional commitments, we waste our time. So much so that we think that's something good. There is nothing. In the first place, I see the corruption in the US and in the same political system. Because as big as this country is, and as talented, as many people young, you're telling me that they're able to find the last almost 12, they're able to find only 2 old guys. That is 2 old guys that they're able to put. Trump is not that much different from Biden in terms of their age. But this is what you see. So these are puppets. They put them in. There are people sitting in the background. If you understand America's system, the people who run the country don't get elected into office. They don't get voted in and out of office.
Great. Thank you very much. Dr. Booty, you are in Great Britain. What is going on? What's the trending topic there? Our president decided to not contest the second term.
Well, I was shocked. Obviously, like most people in the rest of the world, we follow U.S. politics quite closely. And I will say in my 1 minute that I disagree with how the Democrats treated President Biden. I believe that, yes, his performance in the debate was horrible, concerning, some people might say, but I think he was capable, in my opinion, if he had the support of his party, to go on and win the election. I think my opinion is that you can shake your head, Mr. Morris. Obviously, you've made your point. This is my point. My opinion is that whomever the Democrats pick, Donald Trump has the best chance of becoming president of the United States now that Joe Biden's out of the race. Now that the Democrats are seen as people who are divided, they're seen as people who fight amongst themselves and don't unite. We looked at the RNC conference the other day, and you could see a unified front. Yes, you might disagree with the policies that they're putting forward, but they were together, right? Everyone seemed to be aligning with the message, whereas the Democrats are infighting and basically, and the point that Mr. Kamara made, and I can't believe I'm already agreeing with him. If the Democrats don't fall in line behind Kamala Harris, if President Biden does not release his delegates to Vice President Kamala Harris, it's going to be even worse for the Democrats, and it will be basically handing over the presidency to President Trump if they have an open debate, open convention. Because by the time they finish fighting amongst themselves to come up with a policy decision or policy position that they can take to the electorate, it'll be too late. And President Trump would have had weeks of having spoken directly to the American people and told them exactly what his plans are, and they might actually believe him and buy into it.
Thank you. Our political analyst, Mr. Victor Nambe, you live in the United States, you have interacted with the politicians, you live in Liberia, you have interacted with the politicians on public policy. What does this mean for our country?
Well, I mean, much of what my colleagues are saying really is what I would say too. I disagree slightly with Dr. Booty. I think, if anything, the Democrats have been more unanimous on President Biden getting out of the way than on any other issue. I think they will rally behind Kamala Harris for several technical reasons. One, he just mentioned one. The president's endorsement of Ms. Harris means he's going to release his delegates to her. Yeah, the delegates are free to choose, but it's unlikely. The war chest is also there for her to inherit some $96 million. So they don't have to start from scratch. She has name recognition. She's been in the White House. She's been a senator. So I think she checks all the boxes. It is my hope that they will line up behind her and do so quickly. Now, as to the Republicans and their treatment of outsiders, Mr. Tao made a good point that both Democrats and Republicans don't really give a weight about outsiders. But I think the Democrats are the better of the two evils. This is why you find most of the immigrants lining up behind the Democrats. Not all the immigrants, but most of us, because they identify with most of the issues that matter to us. Whereas the Republicans will behave as though they like to fend for themselves, but their followers are the largest recipients of federal aid, and yet they demonize the black and the minority people as if to say, we are the one who receive, social welfare than any other group. That is false. Their rejection of the other is out of fear because they know they'll soon be in a minority. The white minority is pretty soon the whites are going to be in minority, and they know that. So this is why we identify, with the Democrats most of the time. Yes, the Democrats need to do a lot for us. We know that, but they have the better listening ear than the Republicans do. This is why you find us lining up behind them, and because we know they are also susceptible to change. They listen to us and they make adjustments, unlike the Republicans. And so I'm happy that the president, it is sad and unfortunate what it had to come to, but I think it's good for the president himself, for his legacy. It is also good for the institution that he stepped aside. We will continue to revere him for what he did for the 4 years. Yes, he is the only one who beat Trump, but he beat Trump with Harris behind him. And we think if they can solidify and get up behind her, they can beat Trump as well. He's now unbeatable.
Thank you.
So Africa, yes, we're watching and we're observing. But like I said again, we think we have a better shot. Liberia, as a country, has a better shot doing well with Harris or the Democrats in the White House than we do with Republicans. Before I leave, let me send out kudos to Mr. Wallow. I see you put out his graphics. At least he has made some improvement on here. His profile, I think he's improved it to some green or something like that. Keep going, Mr. Wallow. You're coming over.
Thank you very much, Mr. Michael Padmore. I will be last to bring us on, but let me go to Mr. Jimmy Eastman. Jimmy Eastman, two things quick. Our sympathy to, I know you had death in the family about a week ago, and then yesterday or this week, I think your auntie or somebody celebrated their 90th birthday or some birthday, the Eastman family, somebody in the family. So there are two great news. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Always is a pleasure to discuss these topics with these well-endowed gentlemen with knowledge of the world and local politics. However, today, I totally disagree with many of the utterances I've heard on the show thus far. I like to evaluate this breaking news in 4 different categories. The first is Biden's exit. I think that there was a failure on the part of the Democrats. They should have evaluated this much more. His health and condition. Yes, he didn't do well in the debate, but his health was been similar for a length of time now. They should have anticipated as such. That is the real reason he's leaving. The debate performance was not good, but he could have come back with another debate. What's really holding him back is his health. And how come they didn't see this coming? So the other part is now his endorsement with Camilla. Now they're going to be betting against racism and sexism in the country. There's no woman has ever been elected. And for a mixed race, if you want to call her that, it will make it another challenge. So, and it is quite a significant battle that she will be facing, and unless United States has reached the political maturity that they could handle electing a mixed race woman as president, it's going to be interesting fight. But all around the world, we've seen president. We see Indira Gandhi. She led her country. We see Golda Meir of Israel. She's led her country. We see in our own backyard, Madam Sirleaf. She's led her country, and some of them have done more remarkably well. So it's not that it can't, but is the sentiment of the voters there, their cycle and their cultural values that's holding them back. Now, what if it will be beneficial to Africa? That is where I hear a whole lot of things. The Republicans have done a lot in the world. I'm not talking about locally, but Democrats tend to focus on domestic affairs. They are more interested in getting the unions, getting people in the America the fair share than they are giving away millions of dollars to world affairs. If you remember very clean, it was under a Democratic president, Jimmy Carter, that Liberia experienced in 1980. In 1990, with the Charles Taylor event, as much. Excuse me.
It was Bush Senior, Bush Daddy.
Okay. As much.
No.
Yes.
After Reagan, it was Bush.
Let him finish.
Let him finish his talk, please.
Go ahead, Jim.
Okay.
Eastman.
So, yeah. So what I'm saying in general, we don't see Democrats doling out a lot of money to international affairs. We might see much more under a Republican president. And lastly, I like to say that what is going to be interesting is the battle, the debate between she, if the Democrats come around her, she and Trump. It's going to be, Trump's style of debating. You saw what he did to Madam Clinton. It's going to be interesting how she faces him off, because she too can be very cocky when she's ready. She doesn't take. So I think it is going to come down to how she performs in a debate with Donald Trump. And I think that, because she will need a really big lift to get over. I'll stop right there.
Great. Mr. Padmore, bring us home on this topic, so we'll go to the Liberian topic.
Sure. So one thing, gentlemen, just before I make my comment, we're 9 on the show today. If we're going to get anything done, effectively, we've got to be a little bit shorter. So please don't feel insulted when we start rushing you to get to your point. Just to have time for everybody to,
Should we time it? Do you want me to time it?
Yes, let's do 2 minutes each.
Let me start timing it. I'll give everybody.
And thanks to Mr. Padmore, he said to move on.
Okay, we're doing it.
Okay, 2 minutes. Go ahead, Mr.
All right. So for me, I have 2 approaches to it. The first thing is that I'm a conservative. I'm not a Republican. I'm a conservative. I'm not a Democrat. I'm a conservative. However, I believe that the Republican Party has been taken over by sycophants, and it's sad indeed. I'm glad that Biden stepped down today as the party nominee. I do not believe that the Democrats are going to win this year. It will be a shock to me. But at least nobody will be able to blame him for what happened. I don't believe America is ready for a woman president, let alone a second minority president. I think that's going to play into it. I think a lot of Democrats are going to stay home, and the Republicans are going to march behind their men and will weather another 4 years. That's why I'm out with that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of...
30 seconds. 30 seconds quick, Mr. Gimman. Listen. When I love when you say for something, it makes it so sweet. The Democratic Party has been the most dangerous political party in this country. KKK, Democratic Party, the party that stood against the abolition of slavery in this country, Democratic Party. You just named the Ku Klux Klan, Democratic Party. They all come from the Democratic Party. He said that the Republicans get more federal help than Democrats, but he didn't give us any number. As far as we're concerned, once the Democratic Party take over, most black people go on welfare because they tell them that's what they're supposed to have. Whereas the Republican Party encourages them to go out there and actually work together. We know that.
Mr. Kamara, you're so misled. That was a party switch.
Okay, guys.
But KKK votes for Republicans now. That was a party switch.
Listen, guys. We
All right.
we got a lot to talk about here.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about here.
Mr. Padmore, I want to start with you here because you are the businessman here, extraordinaire. When we talk about business, you understand business. Not like, oh, who talk business. You have done business, you're doing business, so you understand business. Let's talk about this rice here. Liberian government open rice importation to all. First of all, is that true? Is it through a policy, a presidential order, executive order, or is it just a floor show, or is this happening?
Well, nobody has seen the actuality of it yet. And look, there's never been a law that said Liberians can't import rice. Basically, the government has to give you permission to import rice. And the government has always kind of kept that in a closed knot. And what Joseph Boyka is saying now is that we're not going to do that. We're going to open it. If you want it, you can't apply, we'll give it to you. But we haven't seen it in actuality yet happening. That's the first thing. The second thing is just giving people permission to do that. It's not enough. Okay, you need more than that. You need Liberians also need the economic support. Okay, are you encouraging banks to give loans for Liberians to be able to import this rice into the country? You know, are you making it easier at the port that when the rice come in, that Liberians are able to clear the rice? See, so all those just giving somebody a piece of paper and say, yeah, go import rice is not enough. There's a lot of things that have to bolster people under that, and we are not seeing that. Okay, and so it has to be a package deal. And because it's not a package deal, I don't think it's going to be successful or as successful as it should be. So a few Liberians that get money right now will take advantage, but you and I, the common man, that guy will lay 10 cents, 20 cents, I don't think we'll be able to take advantage of it. I don't think it will change our lives. And I don't think it will bring down the price of rice either. The price of rice is pretty stable across the world.
Thank you. Mr. Eastman, we are talking about Joseph Boakai is known for making proclamation with no action behind it. The flowery speeches and letters and flyers. Basically, that's why everybody has no substance to it. We are talking about rice.
They only get too many.
Listen, we're dealing with a cartel. They call the rice cartel in Liberia. And the head of that cartel is now the Minister of Commerce. Mr. Jimmy Eastman, will this make any difference, or this is just pandering?
Well, I haven't seen one critical element of this administration, and that is what study do they get into before coming up with decisions? What data analysis do they use before coming up with decisions? And I think that is why they have not been guided properly, because they are not using modern tools to inform their decision. They have to go back to the reason why we limit the importation of rice. Does that reason still stand? Are the supportive data behind that? Is it still prevalent? If it's not, then we may examine it and release the restrictions. So, and then the other day I heard him saying we should pardon him because he's coming. The whole administration is coming from a weakened place. That in other words, they are constrained or they are very far behind. There are a lot of things they have to do. So I didn't think that was a very strong line for a president to take in the face of the challenges he has, because, of course, you come from a challenge place. We've been in challenge place. The thing Ellen Johnson faced in 2005 was enormously challenged. So why are you making these excuses? Simply tell them that we have this to do. We're going to battle it this way. We're going to need your help to do it. I see that being more problem. So I'm looking at the leadership, and I'm just saying we are not using all the tools we have available to us to address these challenges. They have a lot of brilliant people in that group, in that party. Why are they not being used? Why is Molu here instead of helping to govern and to direct the government? That alone is a factor that I don't understand, and I'm very doubtful there will be a difference.
Thank you. Mr. Tao, you're next on The Price is Right. Now, tell us here, they said the price of rice will go down. Every day the commodity will go down. We knew that was a lie because the rice is not determined in Liberia. The price of rice is an international commodity. Now they are saying verbally that the rice that is open door. Anybody can import rice.
Yeah. So this, from what I'm seeing, with no policy and everything, just like Mr. Eastman said, Mr. Patmo said, if the government is going to do something, this is a national crisis. This is a security issue, national security issue, pretty much. This is about the survival of the population, right? So, what studies were done to come up with to come up with the announcement? Is there were there studies done to be able to lay out an entire blueprint so that you can tackle everything from like in production? We have something called whole points, right? So you say, okay, we're going to go in and this concept. So we'll come up with concept, then we'll go to the design stage. And then when the design stage, then we'll go to fabrication. From there, then we'll go to quality control, testing, certification, and then they go out the door. So with the government not having a plan, or at least they have not shown that they have a plan, it's not going to work. I listened to Mr. Kamara here maybe a month ago, and he was blaming Liberians and Liberian companies for not going in. All Liberians are here. He started saying, go in there, nobody's stopping you. You see, I'm here in the US, right? I work in oil and gas. The oil companies, Chevron, ExxonMobil, and these guys, and even Shell and stuff in England or whatever, Total in China, France. The US government gave them over $100 billion a year because that support the energy stability so that they can make sure that it function. But yet, Chevron or Exxon alone would make about $3 billion to $4 billion a quarter in profit, but they still subsidize. So when you come to stuff like food, stuff like industries, the state, no major industry can spring up. This is the problem that we have in Africa. This is why we don't have dominant industries, because your countries are not set up for them to actually subsidize to make sure that the industries get off the ground and they stand up and for them to be able to work, because they are all corrupt. The moment they decide that they're going to create some kind of subsidy for rice, all the senators and representatives become rice importers. The president and his children become rice importers. They leave out the actual people who are able to do it, who are the actual business people, and then they take the money out, it collapses. Just like Honor Ellen, when the American USAID, they brought in money for them to fund agriculture, Ellen became farmer, Ellen Snow became farmer, Amara Conant, that is over there supposed to be talking, that's how he opened a palm farm. They all sucked all the money out, left out the real farmers, and everything collapsed.
Thank you.
So this is what we are seeing here.
Thank you. Thank you. Right on time. Dr. Booty, in the West, when the policy being made, the president will either make a political statement or make a policy statement and become law or an executive order. In Liberia, nothing is written on paper. Even when the president speaks, he cannot, let's say, distribute to the press what he just read. So nothing is written. It's all by word of mouth.
Well, thank you. I'll use my 2 minutes. Firstly, to disagree with Mr. Partner on 2 points. One on principle, and the other one because I'm holding grudge. Right, the man. A few weeks ago, I was interrupting Mr. Kamara. He muted me, but every time Mr. Kamara interrupting people, he can't mute him at all. All right, so I still vex. But on being serious, look, I think most of us who have gone through the education system would have done economics at some point, right? At some basic course somewhere in university. And it tells us that, look, when the supply is high, it affects the price. So basically, if there's too much of rice on the Liberian market, the price of rice technically should drop, right? And again, I'm not an economist. I just did a couple of modules in economics. But I think it is a good thing, in my opinion. I think we should give it a chance to work itself out, because for years we've always had a semi-monopoly on rice importation in Liberia. Why it's not been just one person? It's been a few, and again, forgive me here, but mostly non-Liberians who have been holding that monopoly over the importation of rice. Now that it's open to everyone, it's unfortunate that most Liberians don't have the financial resources to be able to enter into that arena and to be able to benefit from that arena. But maybe it's a time for us to have a conversation. I remember previously on the show, there was an announcement put out that there was a Liberian consortium being put together so that we could raise funds to invest in developmental projects in Liberia. These are the kind of things that we need to be doing that for, where Liberians in the diaspora, for example, can come together and say, okay, look, now that we can import rice in Liberia, let's put some money together and send someone to the Far East to do some research. Go to Thailand, go to Vietnam, go to wherever they're planting rice over there, India and that, and find out where we can get rice cheap, right? Find out how cheaply we can get it shipped to Liberia. And that way we too can then enter this arena to that President we had talked about, that we will not be spectators in our economy anymore. So I did agree with Mr. Padma on the point that Liberians will not benefit, because I think this is an opportunity for us to stand up, come together, learn to work together, and find a way to develop the opportunities for our people. Because there are two things we have to see here. One, yes, we could make money as individuals or a collective. But two, if we can start to import more rice into Liberia, I believe the price will come down. If the price comes down, our people, the ordinary people in Liberia, will benefit. Thank you.
Great. Our political analyst, J. Victor Namwe. In the West here, when we're doing policy, they say there's a position paper, there's a policy paper, something you can hold the government to. In Liberia, there's none. Even if they write it, it means nothing about what they write. There's no implementation, there's no law, there's no enforcement mechanism. So this right thing here, where do you see it going? It's just a political talk or what?
Yeah, you know, I'm inclined to agree with Mr. Padmore. We don't know what this is. If it is anything, I think it is more restrictive to the importation of rice than what it was before. I mean, the guidelines that the ministry put out, almost 20 to 25 guidelines. Why do you need $500,000 to bring in rice into the country? Why should you have a warehouse that can store 10,000 metric? What do you need all this? What are these restrictions for? Let the market compete. Open the thing up. You know, I don't understand it. So yeah, I am really confused by that. I am one of those who was advocating for opening up the market. I thought this was an attempt to open up the market, but if anything, I think it is really an attempt to actually impose more restrictions and close out the market. Mr. Palmer is right. Are they going to give out loans to Liberians? Are they going to give Liberians $500,000 to qualify them to import rice into the country? You know, I mean, they really need to get serious with this and stop playing around. I don't know what is it with Amin Muda. Every time he comes around, he misses the mark. I think this is another miss. And they will have to go back again and redo the policy. This is not a policy. It is nothing. It's just nothing. Paper, that's what it is. So before I leave, let me quickly come back and push back to Mr. Padmore. You know, his categoric assertion that the Democrat will lose is unfortunate. You know, first of all, the analytics don't inform that decision. The reproductive rights, Kamala does very well, and that is proven.
It was strictly emotional. It was strictly emotional, too. There was no data to it. That's strictly emotional.
But anyways, she does right. She does very well on that issue, and Trump himself knows better to run away from that issue. She's going to highlight that issue, and I think they need to find. Yes, Americans are not single issue voters, but right now there is a lot of sentiment out there for the reproductive rights, and I think that's a major issue she does well on. So they have a good fight on that. Yes, I agree with Mr. Padmore. It's a heavy lift. She's a female, you know, and she is a woman of color. But I think they have very good issues in their chest.
She will.
Thank you. Mr. Kamara.
Yeah.
You got 2 minutes.
Yeah, your question is so short to answer. It's not even difficult. So I will be around as small like this. My phone went up because somebody called me.
No, don't beat around it. Answer the question.
But let me answer my question the way I want to answer it now. Somebody just disturbed my phone. One of your viewers, they called me to tell me that I'm a different man on Friday night debate than I am on point. So I think I got to get a little bit more serious on point, because they're thinking I do better on Friday night than here. But I think it's because of you, Mr. Gilman. But yeah, you keep on disrupting. But here's the thing though. I would only use 30 seconds on your answer. The Democratic Party homosexuality, men wearing brief or in the street. It's the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party, you can kill your child even if you're 8 months pregnant. Right? The Democratic Party. Our children and 5 years old, they call their penis. The Democratic Party. These people are devilish. But let me tell you this, Mr. Gilman, what thing you want? They say the government only allows 5 companies to bring rest in the country. The government said, now, okay, you know what? Hey, open up. You can't go bring rest in the country. They say, oh, will you get all money to free the rest from the poor for all? They say, boo, boo, boo. They say, oh, they say, you get where to store rest. That one, nobody got to tell you so. You have to store the rest. It's perishable. If you not store it somewhere where it's safe, it will be contaminated. The commerce ministry is responsible for the kind of food you put on the market. When they tell you again what you need to do for the consumer to be safe, you say, oh, why you put something there? Not so we put nothing there, just will leave it empty. What do you all want? I'll leave you to think about that, man. You found out why.
Mr. Gay, this policy reminds me of a law that was passed in Venezuela. They say every Venezuelan can get the police, but you gotta be 6'3". But everybody can come, but you gotta be 6'3". So tell me now, Mr. Gay, if all Venezuelan can be, the police will open to you. But if you're not 6'3", it's not open. So what kind of policy is that when you say you can come and bring rest, but your storage got to be 10 feet high? It got to have 10 ventilation. We have to come and do the measurement and $25,000. And I mean, what is this?
People didn't get no money. $25,000 of money.
Mr. Kamara, you have your turn.
Let's go, Mr. Gay.
Mr. Padma, I want to respectfully disagree. Kamala going to defeat Donald Trump.
I hope so.
Clear.
I hope so.
And people overlook Obama 2008, and he defeated, John McCain. But let me get to the point. When the rescue people came into office, said they came to rescue our country, I always said, and I will say again today, the Unity Party came into office unprepared. In order to bring rights to Liberia, you need an IPD. You have to be issued an IPD first to be eligible to bring rights to Liberia. Mm-hmm. The very Amin Boda, Minister Amin Boda, me put a title there, and made it when General asked him how many IPD have been issued since you begin a commerce minister, he said 3. So right now, as we speak, only 8 rice importers in the whole Republic of Liberia. And those people who just received the IPD recently, they don't even have rice yet on the market. So there are 5 rice importers on the market. Economically, when there is competition in the marketplace, the consumer benefits. We saw that first here in America here when cell phone, many companies start opening cell phone businesses here. When Singular and Sprint and T-Mobile and other Verizon now used to charge a huge amount of money. One Cricket and the rest of other companies start opening business, Metro PCS then, cell phone price went down. So yeah, where there is competition in the marketplace, the consumer benefit. So Mr. Palmo, in that area also, I would disagree to say rice price will not go down. The reason why rice price is high on the market is because these rice importers go into a meeting and say, our price will be this way. And so they twist the government hand and they force the people to buy the rice at their own price. They are monopolized that market. And even right now, as it is, these guys have more money. That's one of the reasons why Mr. Cummings said $20 million was set aside to give to small business owner in Liberia if you are going to win the election, just to jumpstart the economy, to give these guys purchasing power so they can also be able to compete in the marketplace. So, ladies and gentlemen, this right here will not help the people until the government do the right thing, create an avenue where our people can get loan. Thank you.
So in the end,
right on point.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pablo, for showing me the class.
Mr. Morris, does it make sense for you to say everybody is qualified, but you gotta have 10 feet wall, you gotta have this guy? What happens if Michael Padmo has a decent sized warehouse, well done, that he doesn't want to bring 25 million back around, but he want to bring that 30,000 to sell? Why should he have 10,000 square foot, 7 feet high? Go talk to us.
Thank you. I know Mr. Kamara, maybe he's listening in the back, but let me just say the Republican Party started a war that killed over a million people. They oversaw the economic collapse of this country, who destroyed many lives, and many people committed suicide. So the Republicans have done more damage, when they're in power. But let me say this: Kamala Harris will win the popular vote. That's a gift. She'll win it. If this country was purely based on popular vote, there would not be a Republican president in the last 24 years, because Democrat has won the last in the last 24 years all of the popular vote by millions of votes. But this country is just on the electoral college, and they always give Republicans a prayer. But when it comes to this situation of rice importation, if you have to have a guaranteed loan, of at least a guaranteed line of credit of $500,000, and it's probably going to cost you another maybe 300,000 to actually buy rice and import it and bring it into the country. That's almost $1 million. I mean, it makes no sense that somebody who will have either a line of credit or actual cash of close to $1 million cannot start a farm in Liberia and grow their own rice domestically and sell it on the market. I don't understand that very idea, that the government would not encourage these people who have this huge sum of money, a huge line of credit, to start to invest in rice farming in the country. So for me, I think that defeats the purpose of the president's agricultural plan. Because if you want to go and talk about building up the private sector, this is one of the opportunities that people who are in the private sector can thrive in. Because I'm sure the government don't expect themselves to be the only grower, like the LPMC, did during the time of boycott when he was in charge of that, of that program. You have to have private people go into the cultivation of rice, like Anthony was saying. I'm no economist, but that would drive the price down when you have more competition and many people go into farming and different kinds of qualities of rice and different types of rice. That would drive the price down. So I think the government should switch their policies to encourage people who have the means to get into domestic farming and to help cultivate rice and have a lot more rice cultivators and bring more different kinds of rice on the market and compete against the people who are importing rice. I think that would be the sound policy here. For people, if you have almost $500,000 just to get a license, and then you're spending maybe close to another $500,000 just to import rice, it makes no sense. You can grow your own rice in that country and sell it domestically. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to the next topic.
Can I tell a second, please?
No, my man. No. You got two people.
Who?
Mr. Tao hasn't put.
You already spoke. You already spoke.
Don't give Mr. Kamara a second chance to come on. Put me in the back for 10 minutes.
We're running out of time here. Let's go to the third topic here. Let me skip number 2. Let's go to number 3 here because very important. Joseph Walker launches the agenda. When their campaign started, it was arrest. It is obvious now that Joseph Walker had no plan. It was rhetoric. Now he's saying the Liberian people are too critical of him. So he now have formed a committee to start a new formulation of a policy. And this is what he said here. Joseph Walker, speaking at the Ellen Johnson Selling Ministerial Complex, Joseph Walker did not detail the state of the country upon his takeover from the former President George Weah, but promised collaboration with stakeholders for prosperous future of Liberia. He said this: a lot of people are very critical of the government, but they don't even know where we are starting this government from. Joseph Walker said, they are not sympathetic with us. One thing I can assure you is that this government is intended to move this country in the right direction for the progress like this. We will address all critical areas to make the country attractive to investment. He emphasized that this government has recently received several ambassadors. We are expecting more soon. People are taking interest. This man had no idea what was going on when he read. People are taking, he didn't say they take interest. They are taking interest in Liberia. And he went on to say, now Joseph Walker said he has a planning and the planning is in full swing. He says they are now launching something called AAID. It's a comprehensive 5-year medium-term strategy starting 2025 to 2020. So that means 2024 is a fly. There's nothing going to happen. He told you already nothing's going to happen. And this will include National Development Plan, a public sector investment plan called PSIP, and a specific development agenda for each of Liberia's 15 counties. He called that one CSAID. So here we are, Mr. Eastman. This is the rescue mission that came with a plan for agriculture, transparency, accountability, you name it. Joseph Berger had just admitted that all of those things were lies. They have nothing. They are now going to lead the committee to replan these things. And he come up with AAID, PSAID, CAAO, CAID.
Okay, as a man now.
What's happening here?
Okay. Surprisingly, I would like to clap for this administration. Finally, I didn't expect them to do anything in 2024. And anybody who did, then I don't understand where your analysis. First of all, you're taking over another government. You have to know where all the holes they have dug are. You have to devise policies to reform and take direction. There's many things you have to do besides just simply assessing what you have. So I didn't think anything was going to happen in 2024. And the fact that they're making some modification to 2025 means the planning. Okay, I like that. I like to see the devil's always in the details. Again, if they're using the proper analytical tools and analysis to be able to determine that their policies will yield fruit that they want, then I'm glad they are thinking. I'm glad they're coming up with something instead of simply shooting from the hip and expect to win. But I still got yet to really analyze that plan. And number one, is that going to directly increase production in the country? Is that going to affect the education and training of our youth? And lastly, will that improve the health condition so that Liberians will be able to thrive? If those things are not addressed properly in this plan, then I think they will miss the target once again.
Thank you. Mr. Padmore, President Joseph Berger have not established this group yet. He says the committee will be launched November 30th on his birthday. It have not been said. He said this committee will be launched. Mr. Padmore.
Look, I thought we were past this point. To be honest with you, I think the government is falling behind. I think, look, Liberia's problem is not a secret. I think the greatest secret in Liberia right now may be Liberia's solution. I thought this was already being done. I thought committees was already being. Look, committees don't have to be announced. It shouldn't even be something where you got to call a press conference to announce committee. No, you can form your committees, put them to work, and do. When they come in with the information, then you turn the information into action, and the action can be announced. But all this thing about president called press conference to form a rest committee, all that stuff, just flowery words to almost like buy time. I was disappointed that after 6 months, we just forming committee to actually look into action of this. I was hoping that committees were already working in the background, and that now they were going to roll out the plan. Even if the plan starts in 2025, but if you form the committee starts to act in November, that means probably maybe for the first half of 2025, they're going to be working on data and analytic stuff and and feasibility study and all that stuff, and then maybe going to the end of 2025, they will come up with stuff. Then they got to find money. So it's just, I was disappointed. To be honest with you, I was confused. I was disappointed, but you know what? That's the president's agenda. That's the president's plan. He is the one that's going to have to roll it out. We'll sit and watch and see if hopefully he proves us wrong. Hopefully.
Great. Mr. Namwe, You are a politician. You're the political analyst. And usually, I think when you look at the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, they have their ideology, they have their platform, they have everything ready. Comes 2025 after the election, they're jumping on and they're going. This is what we thought for the past 6 years. Joseph Weiger said they have the plan, everything else, and now we are hearing that our committee will be launched on his birthday, November 30th. To begin going from county to county to coordinate and consult.
Yeah, thank you, Jerome. To Mr. Kamara Chagrin, let me enjoy my political analyst role here and relish in my. No, actually, I myself, I'm a little confused too that the arrest agenda has been relaunched. Because when the agenda was launched, they told us that this agenda was going to, they had the immediate, to near term and then, medium and long term. And this agenda was supposed to run the duration of this administration. Of course, they still retain the arrest. They just kind of modify it to include inclusion and I think development or something. So in essence, it is essentially still the arrest agenda. But the fact that it has been relaunched and there is an extended timetable to launch it is pretty confusing. I think it's a realization that they're falling behind some of the benchmarks that they set out to accomplish, and so they need to reboot it. But all told, it is still, kind of confusing as to the kind of false starts that this government has, has displayed. But notwithstanding, I have to give them credit. At least some attempt is being made to self-correct. I think that's a good thing. Let's give them the time. November 30th is not too far away from here. We think that come November 30th, hopefully they will learn from their mistakes and relaunched and get the agenda off and running. So yeah, I'm inclined to watch and wait and see, where they're going with this arrest agenda.
Great. Dr. Booty, I'm surprised that up to this point, they are just talking about going from district to district for consultation to come up with a collective plan.
Well, I don't like to disagree with Mr. Eastman, right? But I have to today. I think Liberia doesn't have time. Giving anyone a whole year, like you say, in Vlad, it's not something we can afford, right? We don't even have 2 days to waste, right? So these guys should have known, and the thing is, the system of government in Liberia is such that you win election in November, you got whole of December, you got almost whole of January to be planning. Then you can't inside the thing in January again, then you show what you're own arresting, who you going to arrest, nobody knows. It's basically, look, we don't have the time to waste, and these guys should have done way more than they've done so far. There are things that they've done that some of us have looked at and thought, okay, but we're holding our judgment. You can't, like, we know that about the white chicken story. Is that President Menetumba now? You see, Mr. Kamara? I don't know if someone's sitting behind a camera. Every time I load at the cup empty, I load at the cup full again. You just keep drinking. Maybe that's how they want to operate in Liberia. We don't know. What? Because we don't know where we're going. And unfortunately, we are stuck with these guys for the next 5, 6 years, whatever. And the Liberian people, in my opinion, made a mistake, right? They made a mistake. They bought into this charade of some arrest and rescue and whatever that was sold to them. And people who had better ideas of how to move the country forward were not given an opportunity. I don't think they need the time because we've given them enough time already. I think the Liberian people, like we've said on the show many times before, need to start asking tough questions. Like, look, why is this thing not happening? Go back to the rice situation that we're talking about. Why is it that I can't import 10,000 back already? So if I import 10,000 back already, go and buy it. I got to bring 100,000 back already for it. These guys don't know what they're doing. They need to admit to the Liberian people that they don't know what they're doing and call some of us that can't help them. We got Mr. Padmore here, we got Mr. Eastman here, we got Mr. Tao, and Mr. Morris as well.
Great, thank you. I think we've been re-scrambled here, so let me go to Elvis, then from Elvis to Mr. Tao. Mr. Elvis, here we are
I have
this
not
thing
spoken
here
on this
through.
issue though.
You
Don't
don't-
forget about me.
Yeah, we go across. Go ahead, Mr. Elvis.
What's the okay the president plan? Look, I've said it before, and with all due respect to our president, things that's supposed to take him a year and a half will take him 3 years. Any time span that you're putting to calculate this president progress, you got to double it. He's so slow. He may get some things done, but it's going to take him twice as much time. So for me, I think the nomenclature of the plan doesn't really matter. I think the implementation is already the proof is going to be in that pudding or the payslip. So for me, I think the reality is that all of these things, all of these grandiose plans, they need money. And the president said something that I think it was maybe profound or maybe prophetic. He said, if Jabba, or double Jala can't find the money for so and so, we're talking about the machine and other things. This is the man who is depending on the LRA to raise the necessary funds to do some of these projects. And I think another part of it is heavily dependent on, the donors and quote unquote, friends of his who were giving, gentleman agreements. So for me, I think the formulation of plans in our nation has never been a problem. They have been good plans. Even the CDC that many people criticize, the PAPD plan is pretty sound. But if you like the political will and you like the financial resources to implement those plans, they just sit there and become obsolete. So for me, I think the president is moving too slow. If you know that there's a 50-50 chance that you'll be president of the country, these plans should have been formulated. You have a lot of smart people in your camp who could have formulated some of these plans and you hit the ground running. Nobody's saying you would do things, everything in the first 6 months, but definitely you should have plans and then start to strategize and have to implement those plans based on the resources that you have at your disposal. So for me, I think time is of the essence, and I think this president, when it comes to time, he doesn't take it as seriously as he should because you don't have enough time. 6 years is a long time for some of us, but in governance and the way we, the way we like certain things in our country, 6 years is not a lot of time to implement a lot of things that the president wants to implement.
Thank you. Mr. Tawo.
Yes. So Mr. Kamara and the people who support the government, when they came up with the arrest agenda, we told them what was the studies that were done to be able to lay this thing out, to give an actual policy, like lay out from point A to point B, that where the process that you go through for to achieve this thing. They said what Northern minority were talking too much, that they should just get in and do it. They did it, it failed. Because there was no plan, they just spoke. They came up with the asset recovery. We said that it was wrong. There was no studies done. There was nothing laid out to really be able to achieve this stuff. They didn't look at what they require. They told us here that we're making noise. We hated the government. It failed. They came up with everything else. So now the rice stuff that they're talking about, it's the same thing. No study is done. You don't lay out an actual policy or blueprint because this is a national security issue. He is saying that we're talking too much what we want, and it's going to fail. And so that this is where we are. So the government trying to recast this, so tell you that everything they said, there was no planning, there was no studies, no real policy were put in place. So they're just mixing everything up. Each time they fail, all we hear is they're trying at least, no. They need to have, when they say, hey, this is what we're going to do to be able to build 500 miles of road, how are you going to build it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, lay everything out, give the plan, then implement it stage by stage. And then we can actually see it. So they're just joking. It's not that the president is slow. It's that they have no plan. They have no idea. They really don't know what they're doing. That's the problem.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of
No, 2 hours here went on you.
Let's see. Please do us a favor, share. We are reading your comment. We got some nice ones here we're going to show. We got some comical one. That's fine. Mr. Kamara.
Yeah. No,
excuse me. It's a AAID. It's a comprehensive 5-year medium-term plan strategy to be planned. Not planned yet or to be planned. And the committee will be launched on Joseph Boakar's birthday, November 30th.
Mr. Gilman, I heard that thing at least 700 times already. Look, the answer to most of your questions is very just short and simple. But I want to say this one first.
It's simple, but Boakar can't do simple things. Go ahead.
Okay, let me answer my question. The government of Liberia, in fact, the government of China, cannot tell you what to do with your money. If you want to buy land to make red farm and you get 1 million, that's your decision. You decide you don't want to make farm with your 1 million. You decide you want import rest, if that the government of Liberia can tell you that you can't do it. Let's establish the kind of thing. Just start the kind of thing. The next thing here is the government, the political party had an agenda. What they're coming to do. They enter inside the government. They have done surveys. They have done audits. They are seeing other things. All they do, they add it and say these things are also problems that are included and face it. The agricultural project that they talk about that they're going to undertake, they're not stopping and waiting for November. All the other things what you saw in the arrest, they now close it down and say we're waiting for November. Hey, my people, all they're doing, they only tell you that they have discovered more problems. You must say, Dr. Boot, so that
they didn't identify any new problem. They just
Hey, see the political analyst? Mr. Booty, sometimes I struggle to call it name. I don't even know where it is. Booty or Booty, whatever it is. But listen, they carry the library. We saw most people in the particular country are doing the CDC town, CDC America or CDC Canada. We saw that on CDC one, all of them migrated to Liberia. When they were on the platform, the way talking how y'all know it, y'all go there do it. They carry the whole CDC. Guess what happened? You know what happened. So what we're telling you here is just because you're in a political party, you have an idea as to what you want to achieve. Because you know what you want to achieve doesn't mean you're going to automatically know how to achieve it without actually getting in that position. Without getting in that position.
Go ahead.
Mr. Bob, were you sure? I think it's real.
Mr. Kamara, you doing this on purpose. Go ahead. Mr. Kamara, you're doing it on purpose. You don't let to answer the question. Mr. Gay. Now let's go to this here.
So anyway, so like I was saying, you cannot solve the problem just because you said it during a political season without actually going in a position, assessing the damages that have been done. Because if there are no damages done, it's just a matter of fact that there were no improvement done. You can just capitalize on what is already there. But if what was already there has been damaged, then you got to rewrite. That's what is happening, my boy.
Quickly. Let me remind Mr. Kamara, the new arrest agenda has been relaunched. It's just rebranding, reclassifying.
You're saying the thing I just said.
No, it did not capture any new problems. You're saying
I know that.
And realize that
Mr. Gay. Yes, sir. We're going from arrest to AAID, PSAP, CADF. What is going on? Why all these? You're trying to confuse us.
Look, the clear message here the president admitted to the nation and the world that Liberia's security is vulnerable. The president said when he won the election, right after he won the election, he was briefed that the police only have 8 operational vehicles. And all of those operational vehicles were in Maserati only. That's the president's own word when he was dedicating the 20 vehicles and a generator plus the fire truck at the ministerial thing. You can go watch that thing again and listen to the president himself. He said it. Now, that was done prior to the national budget of 2024 being drafted by the executive mansion. Okay? The president prioritized national security in his 2024 national budget, but waited on handout from a friend, a donation from a friend to get police vehicle. If you already know, Mr. President, and the executive mansion runs the day-to-day activity of the nation, why didn't you prioritize national security in your national budget? But he opted to cut a deal with our lawmakers, 100,000 for representative and 150,000 for each senator. It is in the 2024 national budget, my people. Is this man really serious? His own word that he was aware was being briefed right after he won the election that we only have 8 operational police vehicles only in Massarauga County. Today, as we speak, the 14 counties don't have any vehicle under operation for the national police. Folks, this is not a serious president. And this administration came into office unprepared. Unprepared. So you cannot come and tell me. Now, the same administration said they just launched an agriculture plan the other day that they're going to reduce rice import by 70%, but they want rice importer to have X amount of things. That is just not feasible. Thanks for having me.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of On Point. Please share the show. We are following your comments. This is great. A lot of news, current event. This one here, there's something in politics called distraction. Okay, you know, when you go to the children's show, they do like that. While you looking, they're stealing from your pocket, and all. That's what's happening here. Joseph Boakai, this man had the audacity to go and buy some fake chambers. Okay, plastic chambers, plastic top. He went to JFK. This president of ours, Mr. Padua, can you show those chambers from China? And let's see what it looks like. This man, this man, we are talking about yellow machine and major. We talk about some serious theft in his government, yellow machine. They come up with a distraction. They put no money in the budget for the government, for the hospital, for medicine, nothing. It will show some of the picture. Joseph Boakai had the audacity to go in there to say he is giving chamber to, and plate or whatever that is to the mother, newborn mothers. This Joseph Boakai man, look at this man. Can you look at these things and this is what our president has? We are not talking about public policy. We're not talking about money. We're not talking about allocation. Nothing. This is what it meant. This is the Joseph Boakai project. This is why he said, president, we are used to do everything with his project. This is Joseph Boakai's project. You see what he doing to these people.
So which one is the person?
That thing was printed about 3D printer.
Mr. Eastman, let me start with you. Mr. Eastman,
and you stay president.
Mr. Eastman, let me start with you here. You the mayor. What is going here, Mr. Eastman? What is this? Be nice.
I'm sorry. Could you start with somebody else? I'm trying to address something quickly. I'll come back.
Oh, okay. Let me go to the bottom here. Mr. Ali Kamara, this one here, I mean, my man, it's hard to defend government, but I'm not picking on you. What is it that Joseph Boakai was doing there in particular? Tell me.
So, Liberia today is better than it was 6 months ago. The Liberian people have a president that is reachable, someone they can easily get in touch with, a president who cares about their feelings, who will use his personal income to buy baby materials for less fortunate mothers and take it to them. I think the Liberian people are so happy for Joseph Boakai. We saw the people of Grand Guinea, we saw the people of Maryland celebrating Joe Boakai, and that's what we stand for, and that's what we'll go for. A guy like you who are propagandists, you do your thing sitting in Florida, the people at JFK are proud and happy, and they appreciate what they receive.
Oh, Mr. Gay, Liberia is happy that the medical center got no allocation, minimal allocation, no drugs, but they are very happy for Joseph Boakai coming with his chamber that was 3D printed. Go ahead, according to this mail.
Look, Mr. Camara, we can afford to buy luxurious vehicles for our lawmakers. The government of Liberia buying luxurious vehicles for lawmakers. But we talk baby Toyota that can't even go anywhere. Not even Toyota Corolla. Those Corolla, I don't even know their model. From
the RAV4.
Right? So listen, let's stop this joke.
The man has it for top, you go to Toyota.
Listen, I'm telling you what the president just did. He knew that we don't have police vehicle. He acted with his people. Now he's getting baby top. First of all, the president cannot have his foundation running He cannot run his foundation while he's still a president. He can't do that. That's just like Human Bwaka Foundation was donating over there. You cannot do that as a president. Dedicate that task to somebody else that will run your foundation. Focus on the Liberian people. But you see, you have your priority misplaced. This is the reason why you continue to run the country on gentlemen's agreement and donations. When lawmakers have luxurious vehicles, but our national police can afford to have the rightful vehicle. Look at the kind of vehicle we have right now. We need pickup trucks. 4x4, the Toyota Hilux, double capping. That's what we need for the kind of terrain that we have in Liberia. You have 14 counties, 0 police vehicle, 0. And you here trying to back this government? Let's be serious. Put politics aside. People's life as a stake. The president raised his hand and said he will uphold, defend, and protect the Constitution of Liberia. That includes life and property of the people of Liberia. Don't risk people's life. Liberia is not as bad off. Our leaders are very corrupt, and that's the reason why we continue to struggle in our country. And you back my time.
Give us one question. One question.
No question here. Mr. Morris, I'll start with you. Here we have in the midst of major massive corruption news, yellow machine, bus going back and forth from Ghana back, you name it. The president presented a budget that they say pre-budget, only for them to approve it. Then went to his office. Then he inflated it with his own salary. This man in the previous budget said he cut his salary. Then turned around, he inflated to 3 million. This is a distraction. Mr. Murray, what is this?
Mr. Kamara, thank you so much. You made me laugh today very, very well. I don't know if you're trying to pull me and Anthony J and Mr. Nangwe hot scream. I'm mentioning the people in Grand Gida and Maryland. I said to say we'll be happy, our people are happy. But let me tell you this. I remember doing President Weah's term when the first lady had her, her Claire Marie Weah Foundation, and she was giving, hygiene products to young women and women. People were criticizing it. Look, those things are cheap as dirt. I mean, they were 3D printed. Those things can be brought out from the machine. They just put a little plastic and it melted and it bring out. You sit on that thing more than 3 times, it break. So come on, seriously. And Anthony G, you're correct. Joe Boyka, if a man is doing good, let him do good with his own money. If you're doing good with other people's money, I can guarantee you that foundation is, people are donating money to that foundation now in flats because he's president, trying to curry favor with our president. That's why it's a conflict of interest. The same people that are giving him gentleman agreement, the same people who are friends of quote unquote Liberia are the ones donating to Joseph Boyka's foundation. Just Clinton Witherspoon were allocating money for the people in Total. I don't know if the people even get that money. When Google Koluba asked what happened, the woman said, Boyka and baby. Boyka got his own money. They got just frisky. We're not being frisky. We're asking where the money coming from now in the foundation. Who giving it to him? You think Joseph Boyka taking his salary and buying stuff for people or putting it in a foundation? I guarantee you not. When Joseph Boyka vice president, you're not doing this. Because anyone on top of him, you're not allowing him to do any kind of nonsense that he's doing now. So you're not going to curry favor with us when you have money. You got paid over $3 million at your time as president, vice president for 12 years. Only for you to come back and tell us that you were broke. Now that you're president, now you got money to buy 3D printed stuff to give it to people. Joe, we have built homes for people in Maryland, in Grand Gida. He built homes for them to live in. Now 3D plastic stuff, what will break after current selling for 2 or 3 times? Come on, man.
Give me 30 seconds, please.
No 30 seconds. No 30 second point.
Mr. Alan Victor. In the middle of a political scandal where the newspaper everywhere, the president came in with a distraction, coming over with this thing. Talk to me about this. What is this?
I agree with Mr. Gay. The president, and I blame people like Mr. Kamara and Mr. Waller here because they advise this president. And I think they're advising him, inadequately. Something like this. Yeah, he could have probably put his picture on it, give it to some low, functional government actor to go and do the presentation. But he did. It's almost similar to what we witnessed at the RIA. The president goes to present 3 generators at the RIA. This president cut his budget. I think he makes around $400,000, right? 40% of his budget. That's about $160,000. I believe Ami Modal follows suit. He can solicit some of his cabinet members to follow suit, and they can easily buy 3 generators and put them at the RIA. You know what? He brings the Muhammad brothers at RIA, makes a big program to present what? 3 generators? 3 generators. When one person at the Temple of Justice makes more than that amount annually, so we have the money in our budget and we continue to be minimalist, and embarrass ourselves. But yeah, I wouldn't, if I were advising the president, I would have encouraged him to go to JFK to go and present those plastic buckets. And I know he wanted the ladies, our mothers, to know they came from him. But yes, I would have probably put my picture on it and given it to somebody to go and do the presentation. I'm hoping that this president, he's still learning, even though we know he came up with experience. But I'm hoping over time all of these things will be corrected. He still has 5 years to go, but they can't seem to be learning from their mistakes. These are. I wouldn't advise the president to go to JFK to make that presentation. And I give the rest of my 30 seconds to Mr. Kamara because I think he wants to come in.
Yeah, let me come in.
He wants to say the house that Joe we have built will taxpayer money. That's what he wants to.
Unfortunately, we don't have enough time. Dr. Booty, I came from the man we gave her 30 seconds. Dr. Booty, here we are. 2 days ago, the press secretary of the Republic of Liberia said President Walker is going to look at the bigger thing. He's not here to unveil small things. And then the next day, Joseph Walker is at the JFK. This one not even small. They want smaller thing. Talk to us.
Don't forget he donated hand pump as vice president before.
We get 2 minutes now, please. I beg you. Mr. Padon, I tell you to the mute. You're muting nobody. Anyway, look, I think we've said on this show many times already that the president doesn't really know what he's doing. The president and his group of officials that he brought in are not singing from the same hymn, right? You've got one group of people doing one thing at the legislature. You've got another group of people at the Ministry of State doing their own thing. You've got his son, his eldest son, or whatever his level he is, doing his own thing. And the president doesn't even know what's going on. So we know that already, right? It doesn't matter what Mr. Kamara says. We know that. This president hasn't got a clue on what he's doing. In May, I was on a call with someone who runs a hospital in Liberia. And one of the things that pregnant women, Mr. Kamara, need in Liberia is apparently these multivitamin tablets that they take, prenatal tablets or whatever. Those are the things that the president should be focusing on, right? Give JFK the money to buy prenatal tablets so that those pregnant women can carry the baby to term, at least, first and foremost. Because when you bring plastic top, that when I put my 1 foot on it, like this, it will break. How does that help that woman carry her baby to term? Or when the baby is born and needs multivitamin to be able to survive, or they need a certain medication to survive. They didn't get it, but they get found the top with that. Mr. Morris said the printer of 3D printer to take by in. How does that help that child live? How does taking by in a 3D printed top help you live? The bigger picture, like the press secretary said, will be making sure that JFK has the resources to buy the medication for these women to be able to take their babies to term. And then when the babies are born, buy the necessary medication that they need so their bones can grow strong, so their flesh can grow on their body. Not top. Not bench. The man sit down on our bench, the bench will break.
Thank you.
Okay.
Dr. Booty.
Okay.
This is your uncle. You from that area. This is your uncle.
I'm a son of man. I ain't from that side of big.
You're not from that side. You see, everybody did only Joseph Burger, Mr. Tower.
I never owned him before. I'm a crew man. I never owned him. I don't know each other at all.
Mr. Tower.
Yeah, let me go a little bit back. When you start hearing foundation, there is a lot of corruption going on. In recent time, it started under Ellen. All the concession deal that were going on, Ellen had her son Robert in the front. They collected all kinds of money in the so-called foundation, built that stupid store right there by that island or Providence Island, the city called Stadium. They pocketed all of the other money. The video is on here. when Asla Meta or BRE Buchanan, when they're in Buchanan and they're trying to handle an envelope, and the president could not even rebuke the guy, and she said, give it to that person. We saw that after they left power, what happened to the foundation? What happened to all the money that was channeled through there? We saw it. Claire Weir was over there. That lady don't even live in Liberia. Since her husband left, she ran from that country. Anybody seen her? $2 million of our money was being looted by George Weir, channeling, laundering it through his wife. Through that, they said that they have foundation. Only for her to leave, she claimed that all of those stuff she paid Marshall was her own money. Where did she have money when she was eating Gary Yoko here in Florida? So it's the same thing that we are seeing here again with the Bwaka team. And Kamara want to be and back this up. Nobody want president to come and hand anything out, create policies, put money in the budget so that those places can run. Nobody want you to come and open some small shop and you're helping some no. So the people that JFK, why about all the other people around the country that are giving birth? So this is the crime that is being committed, man. Don't support this stuff.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mr. Eastman, I'll go to you because the next topic, Mr. Patmore, going to start. Mr. Eastman, you were not ready. Go ahead.
Yes. You know, we making light of this, but the country is slowly breaking down. This thing that happened the other day with the budget, giving those guys $100,000. If the executive agreed to something like that, what sort of agreement have they come to agree that senators should have $100,000 each to carry out their projects instead of the Ministry of Education, instead of the Ministry of
150,000, Jimmy. 150,000.
Yeah, 150 instead of the Minister of Public Works, instead of the Minister of Education. What sort of agreement have they crossed to allow highway robbery like this? So evidently, we are not efficiently analyzing what we need. That is why you see, instead of, as Dr. Booty was saying, instead of something fundamental being done for the pregnant mothers, and why you see them putting tubs. I bet if you do a data analysis of what is needed, there's no way you will see tubs, or it will, if it does come on the list, it'll be way down the list. So they are playing with us. They are playing with our people. They are playing with our future. And it's disappointing. I thought this administration would have had more depth than what I'm seeing. But as soon as I started seeing people like Molu and what exit the scene, I knew it was the same business as usual. So we're getting, this thing may be funny, it may be amusing, but at the end of the day, the Liberian people suffer because we are not making the best of our resources. I'll leave it right there.
Can I use 30 seconds now, at least?
Mr. Padmore.
Oh.
No, please give me a second. 30 seconds. I'm begging for you now. I'm sorry for getting me 30 seconds, please.
This man cannot do 30 seconds. I'm telling you.
No, just give me 30 seconds. What you gotta say, please?
Mr. Padmore, can you time that man 30 seconds starting now? Go.
I'm ashamed. It is embarrassing.
You should be.
Poor analysis coming from you guys is just sickening. I'm exhausted. It's like I'm working. I'm just sitting there, but it's just too much pressure on me to just be thinking that people are just thinking out of the blue and just talking out of the blue. So let me ask you here: any one of you in administration at all?
Management. We're not in government.
Yeah.
Yeah, we in leadership.
Go to the next topic, man. I tell you.
30 seconds over.
What did he do with the 30 seconds?
Oh, we get a 30 seconds for that deal.
The members use the 30 seconds.
I told you that man had nothing. He had nothing. It's a distraction. Mr. Padmore, a close up on this and then start on the next one about the U.S. military. But close on this here. Who does this thing? What is this going on with Joseph Boakai?
I'm not sure. So, Joseph Boakai is supposed to be the wisest man in the room. But a president also has advisors. I keep asking myself the question over and over and over and over. When people suggest these things, can nobody in the room stand up and just say that is a dumb idea? And I can list so many times. I remember when the president was speaking concerning the yellow machines, somebody in a group said, I think it was Mama Kakaba, but I'm not very sure. She said, "Oh, and then we are going to put your picture on the machine, Mr. President." And then he said, "No, don't put my picture on the machine. Put Think Liberia, Love Liberia, and whatever it is." He had to look immediately. Whoever made that suggestion, he should have fired that person. Because I mean that person thinking shouldn't be up to par with other people that are in the room. That their thinking is so what's the word?
Sycophantic.
That they will make such a suggestion to put the president picture on something. Like, come on. When somebody says, "Oh, Mr. President, we got Baby Top and we got Chima Bucket and things like that, we want for you to go to JFK and donate it when you visit JFK." Somebody should have said that's a dumb idea. You need to go to JFK with policy ideas. You need to go to JFK and be able to address certain things, even if it's for pregnant mothers. How about if you are pregnant? Once you are pregnant and you are confirmed pregnant, okay, you should be able to get free healthcare until that baby is born. How about that? That's what I expect the president to say. Then you see all our dancing here today. But before you get to the top, that baby has to go full term. That mother has to deliver safely. The past 2 days, we've been working behind the scene to raise money for a set of twins who mother died in childbirth. Twins, right now, days old, mother died in childbirth. This is what we are facing. So who's gonna bathe those twins in the bucket? That's what we are right now. The country, people think that we hate United Party. We don't hate United Party. I have a disdain for them, but I don't hate them. But what Liberia needs right now, United Party ain't getting to give them. Now, let me move on to our next topic.
Thank you.
Let me lay the prefix for this.
Go ahead.
The House of Representatives have mandated a joint committee on national security, internal affairs, and the judiciary to investigate the significant influx of Burkinabe national in the country that have become a national security issue. We leave that and we go to the airport with the National Guard, with the army, because Georgia is coming in the country. My people, what is going on in this war? You have the invasion of foreign folks in the country. It's a national issue. And here Joseph Walker is sending the army to go to the airport for a peaceful protest and the arrival. Look at the people with guns in their hand. Mr. Padmo, I don't know what is going on here.
Well, look, Liberia, even though we have experienced relative peace, Liberia is still a fragile nation. When you have a large group of young people that are struggling financially, economically, it's a very volatile situation. An accidental discharge of a weapon that kills somebody can turn into a complete chaotic situation. Because of such things like that, the army should only be brought out as last resort, not as first resort. Even if a few procedural things will be broken, then you allow those things to flow, and then you make corrections moving forward. The government needs to summon the office of the former president, his protocol, and they need to sit down, and the government needs to establish with them, this is how we expect the president to leave and to arrive back in the country. These are the things we are going to need. These are the access he's going to have. Those things need to be worked out between the two of them. They need to be worked out ahead of time, and those things need to be done. All this reactionary tendency, it's not okay at all for the country. It just shows that, the United Party has a certain anger or resentment or retribution towards the CDC. We all know this. It's clear thing. And the CDC has recognized this. So they are playing hardball. You who are the governing, you are the government. If chaos breaks up, no one's going to blame CDC. They're going to look to Joseph Boyka and the United Party. If people die, they're going to look to Joseph Boyka. When you are governing, certain responsibilities prohibit you from acting like you used to be. You remember when we support 10,000 people in the street? John Selling and other things, You can't do that no more. You have to be responsible. And responsible means being an adult in a room and calling those things and setting up those things. Just sitting there and continually being in rivalry with the CDC and what the CDC didn't do is not going to move the country forward. And this government needs to start to begin to act like a government responsible for 5 million people and the security of the state. Say what you want to say about George Weah, but George Weah kept the peace for 6 years. He did. And even in the end, when a lot of personal people who are close to him, urged him to contest the elections, not to give in, George Weah looked at the peace of Liberia and chose peace and walked away from it. Say what you want to say about corruption, say what you want to say about all the other things he did. That part of it, you cannot take it away from him. Now it is United Party's turn. They have to be the adult in the room. They have to secure the peace of Liberia. And you don't do that by discharging the AFL in such a volatile situation when you have a former president present. Can you imagine something like that?
But who tell me the timekeeper?
I know.
Hey,
The
Mr.
timekeeper
Eastman.
have it.
Mr. Eastman.
I'm telling myself.
Mr. Padmore, you were right on that 2
More than
minutes.
5
That's it.
minutes.
You were right on that 2 minutes. Mr. Padmore, Mr. Eastman, we have the state, the legislature, they have sensed, based on intelligence, that the country has a national security issue. This is the nation that we own. Instead of sending the AFL at every border crossing to bar people from invading our country, they send them to the airport. Mr. Eastman, you're who the educated people. How you run government like this, man?
Very interesting.
Just so you know.
Very interesting. I want to agree with Mr. Padmore that George Weah helps keep the peace. People don't really know how instrumental George Weah is in maintaining the peace. When we saw those elections, when the CDC was ready to go on and do whatever it is to secure victory, George Weah said, no, y'all don't do that. He is there to secure and he has been doing such. But if they don't put this, rein back all this hostility and violence amongst us voters, it will culminate to something else. I think the government did not show maturity. I don't care how mixed you're feeling and what disdain you may have for each other. You are running a country. You have to organize things in a way that will not be detrimental to the prosperity of the country. You have to you have to call these people in meeting and come to a conclusion. It can't be going on like this. It's unfortunate that we're not there. And so we're going to see more of this until they come to the table and discuss the hard things that they have to discuss. And once they do that, that's when they will show maturity. So we're still seeing the government struggle, but if they take the mature approach to this, as they claim they are, it is resolvable. But if they decide that they will be calling the military, they can't depend on that military. You saw the other day when they they appointed somebody to lead the defense ministry. The military buck. So if that's what they're depending on, then it's going to be sad day one day in Monrovia. I think negotiations is the way they should go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Victor Nambe, during like Mr. Patmo said, during the uprising, during the early days of George Weah, Save the State, there were more people in the street that the president could have said, let the army come out and get help. But they had the riot police, they had the how to call it, the PSU, they had all of these folks were there. They did their homework. They accommodated almost 300,000 people. And we didn't see nobody lost their life, no shooting, nothing. Mr. Nambe, what's going on?
Well, this is I think an issue that this current government has to find a way to deal with. I think the former president's arrival at the airport is something that this government has now found a way to deal with, and I don't know why it is, but I think it's going to continue to pose problems for them. I understand that prior to this president's arrival, his supporters were all on the airwaves and making all kinds of remarks. Remember, the first time he returned to the country, there was controversy as to which way to access the airport, whether the VIP lounge or the presidential lounge. Now, I understand when the president returned to the country this trip, which is these past few days, his supporters attempted to breach the barrier and get on the airport. That is unacceptable. They cannot do that. Now, this government too, I think it was a little bit heavy-handed by deploying the army and all of that, but they need to find a way to address it. This former president is not entitled to the privileges that he enjoyed when he was president, and he needs to understand that. But he continued to present himself as if to say he is still the president of Liberia and posing himself as though he's still entitled to this benefit. He's not. And his supporters need to get this. So this government needs to find a way to sit down with his people and explain it to them. I hope they will understand. But I think he's exploiting this. I think he understands it very well. But he's using it as a rallying point. He's not addressing any issue. He's in the opposition now. He should behave like he's in the opposition. They reserve the right to deny him access to the presidential entry. He's not entitled. So his people coming in there and rebel rousing and misbehaving, I think is unacceptable. They need to stop it. Because sooner or later, someone is going to get hurt. Someone's going to get hurt. So I think this government should call his people in, sit down with them. If they need to even publish how this president will be received when he's coming back to the country, I think they need to lay out clearly so that we'll all understand. But I agree also deploying the army and all of that. I think it was a little bit, heavy-handed.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Booty, those of us who have lived our lives in opposition, you look for the soft spot in the armor of the ruling party. And the ruling party have shown their underbelly. This is what they did. They say he will not use the presidential pilot. That's fine. They say he will not use the VIP. That's fine. So the man took advantage of it and said, you know what? I'm the people's person. I'm going to use the regular route with the regular people. Okay? Who in government will allow such a person or populace like that to take advantage of something? I would have gone there, received him, and talk him the way we want. Mr. President, here is your car. Let's go, and we take you to the back, and you home. But to allow yourself to be used, they make him through the regular reception, stood in line with the regular people, and all of a sudden, people who admire him, people who they never met him before, they seen the president, and the whole place go rockers. So it backfire on the administration, Mr. Booty, Dr. Booty.
Thank you very much. I'm just gonna say that once I give my comment, I'm gonna exit as well. So it's been a great show, and thank you guys for having me. Look, I think I disagree with Mr. Nange because I believe that when President Weah was president, President Sirleaf was allowed This is what I understand, though. And if I'm wrong, you can correct me. But she was allowed to use the VIP lounge. I know in the United States, for example, and here in the UK, when you're a former leader, there are certain privileges that you are granted. You know, Secret Service, police protection, and things like that. You can't be expected to go through the route of the common people, right? With all due respect to the common people. So I disagree with that. I think he should be allowed to use the VIP lounge. Again, it wouldn't change the nomenclature of Liberia. It wouldn't change who's the president. Nothing. You know, these guys like Mr.
That would be
quickly
before
no,
you
Mr.
continue.
let me go because
there is a VIP lounge and then there is a presidential lounge.
You wait.
Either one, whether it's VIP presidential, you should use all of them. Let him use all, right? And like Mr. Pablo said, there is a distinct. You know, these guys from the Unity Party did not like the fact that CDC came in and didn't give them jobs. So they didn't like it. They've been agitating for years. Our time coming, that their time come now. So they want to show the CDC that their time. Quickly, let's just draw some examples here. The riot in Cape Mount County, they didn't send army there. The women that went on the streets are rioting, they didn't send army there. Why would you send army when George Weah and people start rioting? How does that make sense? Why is it different for George Weah, but then when the other people rioting and killing people, you don't send the army, right? The army is there to protect our borders. You don't send the army in unless we've been attacked by another country, or they've gone there to provide backup support to the police. It was wrong, and this government needs to apologize to President Weah, and they let the man use the VIP lounge. I beg you, because at the end of the day, it doesn't change anything, right? The things that they're going to be worried about, ain't worried about it. Thank you guys very much. It's been a great show, and by the grace of God, we'll see you next Sunday.
Mr. Tower, you're 2 minutes and you're closing.
So look at what happened here. When it comes to this, I will actually side with the government. Yes. I will side with the government. The only thing I would disagree with is the force that is sent, the army, right? But I lived in Liberia. I have dealt and faced the gangsterism of the youth, whether UP or CDC. That is the port of entry. You have people coming through that port, going through other places. The CDC, George, we need to advise those people. You want to meet your president, go meet him at his house, at your party headquarters. You don't come over there and try to block traffic and impede other people traveling. I have dealt with them. They will block the entire Ralphie Highway, and for 3 to 4 hours, you can get through. They will be banging on your vehicle, and if you try to send them, they break your windshield. We don't need that at the airport. And if the CDC cannot get themselves under control, let there should be some kind of legal stuff that they can charge somebody or do something. No. This is serious. Now, the approach that they're using with respect to the military, that is a whole different stuff. But this nobody need to sit down with no CDC and try to iron something out. They need to understand this. Sally was allowed to use that area because Sally was not coming into that country where a whole batch of gangsters and all kinds of little kids waiting all over the place trying to force their way through. If Boaka came there and he started doing that, CDC will respond the same way. And y'all want to talk about that there was peace. Where was the peace? For little gathering, political, where was Jefferson Cody with cutlasses in your hand? That I have the pictures and the videos all over the place of rioting and causing. Yes, I saw that. So look, you're the CDC people. You advise them. They need to stop that. George, we need to advise the people stay away from the airport. Anything that block people, other private people from moving, the airport is not a place where you go in bulk. I saw the stuff. They're blocking the whole area. They're making all kinds of noise. That is not the place for it. I agree with this government. The next time it happens, they should actually go over there and arrest them and take them out of there.
Thank you. Mr. Morris, I've never heard anything as such. I remember when Costa was coming to Liberia, he said, I will burn the airport, I will kill the police, I will do this. What did the Georgia administration do? They went to the airport, received the man, made sure that he was well cared for, that nobody touched him, and he paraded from the airport.
Don't forget what Darius Dillon said you'll do to the president Congo. Don't forget that one.
Mr. Morris, your turn.
Look, let me say this. Kudos to our great former president, great man of peace, great man walking president, George Weah. The reality is, I feel sorry for the army. because we know the history of our country and it kind of, you know, I don't want to use the same word disdain that Mr. Palmer used that the Liberian people have for the army on the do. And that's why the U.S. when they help to reform our army, they try to keep them out of the political, you know, light by all means possible because they don't want the sentiments of the citizens to turn against the army. It's very important that you don't put these guys in the crosshair of the Liberian people. Let's not forget we have a very, very weak army. We may say professional trained army, but if war breaks out in our country today or tomorrow, the army can protect the entire nation. We know that. So nobody should lie to us, you know, and tell us that Joseph Barker carrying the army there to protect him or to protect his government. George Weah is a man of peace. He wants peace in our country. The reason this even happened is because the blatant disrespect of the president, the former president, that came from this United Party. There's a presidential act, a presidential executive order that stands right now. It's in effect. That was signed by President George Weah. When you read that executive order, it says that he's allowed to use presidential lounges. He's allowed to, he should be afforded all of the privileges of an ex-president. They got it right in that act. And it was blatantly disregarded by this United Party government. And that's why the seditionists and those who support President Weah, they're not going to take disrespect to their former president and their political leader laying down. They're not going to do it. Joseph Boyka personally, on a personal level, has a great deal of debt to President Weah. He put that battery in his heart today. He gave him the money when he made $3 million over 12 years and couldn't afford the surgery. President Weah gave it to him for his own money. Same president, Mr. Kamara, won't talk about people's own personal money. Give it to him for his own money. So when Joseph Boyka want to be a gangster, trust us. The people that support George Weah can be more gangster than the United Party people. Guarantee you that. But since President Weah wants to be a peaceful man, you keep asking for peace, let that peace reign. I know Joe did the same thing. He made the same mistake. He thought, yeah, I'm behind him. What happened? You were overthrew. Chancellor did the same thing. What happened? He ran to Nigeria. You can't fight the people of Liberia, no matter what kind of army you think you got on your side. So respect the people and respect their wishes, or else you will be booted out of there. I can guarantee you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kamara.
Yes, sir.
Here we are.
Okay, Mr.
Listen.
But
Mr. Kamara, Joseph Boyka, when he was vice president, the president allowed him to use that lounge. He was accorded all the privileges of a leader. And here we are. When Joseph Boyka came the last time, the whole airport was crowded. The people went to meet him, and rightfully so. Mr. Kamara.
Thank you very much. This is what I want, Mr. Pamo.
Yes, sir.
I want to dedicate my 2 or 3 minutes to recognizing the audience. Can you put up their text and at least recognize them by their names and read what they said?
All of that, plenty of them, man.
Yeah.
Mr. God, don't let them away. So, Mr.
don't disrespect our political analysts here, please.
The Unity Party, you're not representing that strongly.
It's a lot. You know, as we talk, we'll be posting it up. Okay.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So we can go to the next person as other people talk.
Yes. Anthony Gay.
Yeah. Listen, man. Look, there is a privilege there for an ex-president or the ex-head of state of the country. Only in Liberia, people don't want to respect George Weah. Whether or not George Weah was a great president, that is besides the point. Only very few people will have the opportunity to sit in as executive manager as president of the Republic of Liberia. So George Weah is one of them. I call the man the respect. And thank God for George Weah. If it wasn't for George Weah, the Liberia today were going to be upside down. Why? Because this is the only political leader I see that control his people. When George Weah speaks, sedition, listen. George Weah have grip over his party. When he speaks, sedition, listen. Most people are Weah share, they even sedition. They rather George Weah than the party. And because of him, because this election, the past election was so close, people wanted to get in the street. Some of the things that some guys were saying in the group chat, they were very terrible things. As soon as Weah came out and spoke, All of these guys, they stopped saying what they were saying and they accepted the result, even though they were not happy with the result. We should be grateful for him. Whether or not you disagree with the administration, I am not a weird supporter. You guys know that. But what is happening right now, the Unity Party is playing to the drum beat of CDC. If CDC jump, they jump. CDC go their way, they go their way. You will spend more time talking about CDC than even the administration. This is the reason why they are not even focused on their own agenda. You cannot treat the country the way they're treating the country. Grand Nigeria country have over 10,000 Burkinabes today who don't have no residency in Liberia. Yes, they some of them don't even have ECOWAS passport. They are in the country. You didn't send the military over there to get these people to get registered in the country for to make sure that they get residency started in the country because they are ECOWAS members. But you're sending people to the airport. Forearmed.
Thank you so much.
God forbid if one person mistakenly gonna set up that gun, a different thing we're talking about today, and our country is very fragile. So we cannot have that. Put the country in order.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Great show. We are going to give you exactly 30 seconds each to close. Mr. Eastman.
Yeah. Yeah, good show, gentlemen. And I'm glad everybody took the time to recognize that George Weah has been keeping the sanity of the country. It has been a man of peace, and we must give him his props for that. But we did recognize that the Unity government, the Unity Party government, has now the mantle, and they seem to be a bit slow in getting. So let's hope that they will speed things up and do better in the near future.
Great. Our analyst, 30 seconds.
Yeah, great show, man. Listen, when we come here, we offer our honest advice. Just like we see it, I want to caution Mr. Darlington. There's people like him that got way out of the match today because of just stupid nonsense he's writing in the chat there. So that's not going to bother me. But when I come here, I'm calling it like it is. I mean well for Liberia. I don't care about Weah. I don't care about Boakai. I care about Liberia. If they do the wrong thing, I will praise them and thank them. If they're not, I will also call them out. I just want you to know that. Thank you.
If they do the wrong thing, you thank them and praise them?
No, if they do the wrong thing, I'll call them out. That's what I said.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, so
Mr. Kamara, 30 seconds.
Yeah, I will go less than 30 seconds. The military of any country do not go get laissez-passer or resident permit. That's not the job of the army. The army doesn't do that anyway. The next thing is there was no argument about Joe Weah going through the regular lobby. The argument was him going through presidential lounge. I heard so many things, but it was so far it was a great show. I really got entertained and really amazed. Today I was surprised, to tell you the truth, or the least.
You may all lie with 3D printed bucket.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Aliyu Kamara group, they've been calling him in the background, telling him that today when he come here, we subdue him, he feeds it. Go ahead, Mr. Elvin, close.
Look, Mr. Let me say this to our President Boycott. Any development that you want to instill in that country and implement, it must be done under the auspices of peace. You must do everything within your power to maintain the peace of our nation. Political differences should not drive us back to another civil conflict. It should be the very last thing that we need in our country. So please, maintain the peace. Talk to your people who may be overzealous and may have animosity towards the former ruling party. Talk to them. Let them tune down the rhetoric. We are Liberians. We know who we are. We know how our people think. And we know how divided we are along tribal lines and regional lines. So don't let this thing, spiral into violence. Please don't. Or else your entire presidency will be marred by unrest in the nation. Don't allow that to happen, President Boycott. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tao.
Yes. What I don't understand is this we are praising. Democracy is about if you lose, you step down. Judge Weah, what was he supposed to do? He lost the election. So I don't know why they're trying to give him this extra credit. Judge Weah could not do anything. He stepped in because he was saving his butt. He knew that if he tried something, he would be in a lot of trouble for what was already unfolding for the government. So they'll stop praising him for this. And the next one is the military, whether the police or the riot unit have the right to go to that airport. It's from gangs of people trying to gather to meet somebody and blocking people movement. They have to remove them. So you don't put this on the government. You talk to the opposition. Let them put the people in check.
Thank you.
We saw it with Donald Trump in the very country he lost, and he accepted, and he might be our next president. So come on, man, give the man some credit.
Today, Mr. Taiwo is even worse than Kamara. Go ahead.
The thing is, look, we have a very divided nation, okay, and we need to accept that. To move forward, we'll have to work together. The animosity has to be dialed down. United Party has the responsibility as the governing party to start dialing that down. Be more patient with people. When it comes to the rice importation, just like the 285 machine, Liberians need to participate in the economy. But it will not happen until the government steps in and puts in programs, not just this fly-by-night stuff. We'll give you permission, but you don't have access to $500,000. What use is the permission if you don't have that? When it comes to the JFK stuff, President Boyka, the budget is where you need to effect JFK, not in donations. Thank you so much, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. My take, Joseph Boakai is as flawed as it can get, as we knew it. Joseph Boakai became president. The first thing he did, he went to the university, the United Methodist Universities, and he asked them to give him a PhD degree, just like Joe Weah did. Now he's Dr. Boakai. Joseph Boakai condemned Joe Weah for putting his name and picture on projects that called Joe Weah Project. When he became president, he put his picture and his name on stuff, and he called it the Joseph Boakai Project. Joseph Boakai condemned George Weah for doing all of these things. President Weah, Boakai would not be a star. Joseph Boakai would never be a star. President Weah is a superstar everywhere he goes. Joseph Boakai, forget it. You will never be. You will never be. You will never be George Weah.
Mr. Kamara, do you hear that George Weah is a star? Joseph Boakai will not be a star. Let me tell you,
you throw them everywhere he goes. Everything. In fact, I own the presentation of the 285 machine. What did they say? They say he is now the bio medicine.
Any road that Joe Weah get, any need Joe Weah get, Joseph Boakai will not need.
Mama Di Kama, what her name? Mama
Ka Belete.
Mama Ka Belete said, Joseph Boakai, we are officially now, you are the official bio medicine. Everything Joe Weah is, Boakai want to be. Boakai, you are not a star. Nobody
Your cheap imitation of the great man. Cheap imitation of the great man.
Sunday, same time, same place at 4 o'clock is on point. Gentlemen, thank you for coming. And Mr. Michael Panmo, we please.
We all Liberians. Liberia is our home.